also want to sneak in an answer to that question, because it's a damn good question. And I loved how you said this projectizing of Africa. I think to a large degree, at least in South Africa, I can speak for because of my experience, we've projectized small business.
Yes.
And we won't get into that. I think all of us know. I think for me personally, yes, I work for a corporate. I've run my own business that I've had to shut down and it failed. I've worked in places that run accelerators and incubators, and I've worked for corporates. And I think part of people moving around and bringing different experiences brings about different types of conversations. And I think this, cut to the thing you're talking about accelerators is important. I think part of the challenge we have is that we talk about small businesses as though they're uniform, and they're not. Some small business or micro business does need an incubator. Go take the value you need, grow, move to the next stage. Get to the point where you need an accelerator, because there is supposed to be a difference between the two. Get accelerated by that accelerator and move forward. Get ultimately to the point where you are partnering with the corporate, where it's not a project, but it's commercial. So I am lucky enough where in my scorecard, one of my scorecard metrics is how much money did that startup that we invested in or supported make from Old Mutual. That's part of my scorecard. So I think it's about different stages of maturity and making sure that the appropriate type of support exists at different levels. I think in other countries on this continent where there isn't such a heavily legislated SME funding support perspective, I often see better examples of win-win partnerships. Partnerships are not slave and master relationships. It means that both parties must be winning. And it means it's not a project, but it means it's very much part of day-to-day business. And I think sometimes as corporates, we get involved in things where it's like, but what do you know about that topic? What value could you truly add? Whereas actually the stuff that we do commercially, we know finance. We know risk mitigation. How do we bring that to the fore in how we build up the businesses that we work with and bring that skill set and capability, so I'm not in front of Khathu teaching MBA on marketing and strategy when I've never done marketing and strategy in my life. But how can I rather be in front of you and say, actually, I'm a trained actuarial science graduate. This is how I can help you. Size, price the risk in your business and mitigate it. That's real value. And we've got to get back to that level where it's not a project, but it's actually part and parcel of what we do commercially and the things that we measure as commercial outcomes of business. So I 100% agree with you. And I think different corporates are at different levels of maturity in getting it right. I don't even think we're fully there. We've made some strides, but we're still making mistakes. But I think that commitment and continuing to hold ourselves up to a higher standard is the only way that improvement happens, and being called out when we don't do it. We must be called out. We don't exist in isolation. We exist in the societies we're in because of the communities, the startups, and the different things that we're participating in. So we must be held accountable if we fail to do that.
Hayden, one-liner, two-liners.
I think from our side, it's just perspective is key. I think it's the theme of the day is like just put yourself in the corporate shoes, understand sort of what they're looking for. I think the other thing is be resilient. It's not personal. So with corporates, I work with a lot of the C-level executives around the country, and I sit in the room and I leave there thinking, oh my word, these guys are so arrogant, so condescending. It's like, how do you guys get anything done? And I think from our side, it's exactly that. Just, it's not personal, move on. Like you said, move around and make sure it's a goodness of fit also. That's important. Every partnership is not good for you. Certain cases, I can count on my hand how many strategic partnerships we have. Yet everybody wants to partner in the shop, right? But it's also, it's that you'll know. And I think that's important. Yes, you can look at things on paper, but the reality is also you have to work with people. You have to work with the consistency. Like just constantly, just try to just get better than the day. Like every day is day one. Just be consistent, try harder, and just bounce back. The reality, somebody's going to tell you, no, it's okay. When that door opens, you'll know. So I think just be resilient. There's so many opportunities. And a lot of corporates, the guys are just ticking boxes also, to be honest. I see it all the time. And I think the guys that we work with, there's a passion and we want to make a difference. I think that's important. open the floodgates, there is an opportunity, and we know what we're trying to solve together. And I think we can only do it with guys at different maturities also. It's not just a cookie cut approach.
Thank you, Khathu.
I think I'll just add a two-liner, unlike the exact IFE. But I think one thing just...
It's a case study. It's a case study.
So one thing I can say is that as much, also after being resilient, you need to be committed to what you're doing. You know, one thing that frustrates a lot of investors or a lot of people who run such program, this month Khathu is in logistics, next month is in health tech. You know, every time they meet you, you've got this brilliant new idea. Sometimes your CV of experience on this thing can sell a lot because you are committed to it. Not like you are jumping around different sectors. I'm not saying that if it's not working, force yourself into it, but you still need to be committed to whatever idea or whatever project that you're working on. It also sells to say that not I've been building this thing for the past 2 years, not like it's still an idea that I've got a nice PowerPoint for the past 3 months. So yeah, just be committed. You know what? Unless maybe excluding the guy from Stellenbosch, it's tough out there. So the reality of the startup world is that it's tough out there. You're gonna get collapse, corporate partnership, decline for funding. Even like our own government, your CIF, I know they're here, your CIF, your NYDA, things which are supposed to be simple. You can go there still get, reject or decline. So you need to be committed to the cause and at least survive 3 years before jumping on to the next brilliant idea. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tsepo.
So, honestly, if I was talking to myself 7 years ago, and I ran a business like Droppa, and it was just at point zero, I would literally go to a small shop in a township and say, please can you collect WhatsApp numbers of all your customers. I would send a WhatsApp burst to say, please, if you're not aware, I provide a delivery service from the shop to your house. And then I would generate value from that one shop owner, generate value for those customers, and then validate my idea by getting one of my friends to come and join me in doing the same service. And that's what I would do. I would not talk to a single corporate for at least 3 years. I'll talk to a few funders, maybe around my community, but that's what I would do. I would never, ever speak to a corporate for 3 years. I would never go and build some technology stack and burn all my cash on developers.